Hey guys, welcome to Comedians Uncorked Uncut. My name is Pat Largo, and we'll be talking again with yet another great, talented comedian, Tampa Bay area comedian. I don't just limit it to the Tampa Bay area. I do Florida and sometimes even around the country, which I love to do too. But a great guest with me I have today who has been in the improvisational comedy genre for years. He is a stand-up comedian and a damn good one. Please welcome Mr. Chris Gorges.
Hello, hi, Comedians Uncorked. What's up, Pat? How you doing, buddy?
God, this is great. I always like to start out by asking everyone the same question. All this craziness that's gone on so far in 2020, COVID and everything else, how are you and your family doing?
Not good.
What can we do for you?
Job would be great. Some sort of income might be nice. I don't know. I'll mow your lawn, Pat. What do you got going on? Tree trimming? Plumbing?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I was that way too for a while, but then all of a sudden the checks cleared with the DEO and everything. If I can do one, maybe two more pandemics, I should be set for life.
I am not. I can't comment one way or the other that it might incriminate me on all social media.
Is there pending litigation?
No. Not for me. Maybe for you now. I don't know. You're like, yeah.
No, I had the longest, craziest, just shittiest stretch with the DEO and unemployment, right? We're gig workers. Right. I don't have a real job. This is what I do.
Right, me
and
too.
My God, man, they just bust balls, and then like DeSantis is walking out of media things and interviews, and I'm like, no, sit down. This is unresolved. So, dude, I was part of a Facebook support group, right? Just so we can help each other out. One dude was this close to killing himself. I kid you not.
I believe it. If you got no money and you can't eat, I can see where that'd be pretty dire.
It was, we had to talk him off the ledge for a second, and then finally everything worked out for him. But my God, you could feel the tension, like just reading it. I'm like, after a while, I'm like, well, just do it already. Quit fucking around.
Well, here's the thing. I did get money from the government. Thank you very much, Donald Trump. That's the one thing I can thank him for. And it has helped. But I'm a comedian. I want to get back on stage. It's all fine and dandy. And it's funny because when I hear them talk about this stuff, they're like, they just want to stay home. No, I don't want to stay home. That's the last thing I want to do. So I got a show Friday night coming up. I'll be out. This will be my second show in the pandemic. The first show was in Newport Richie, and this show will be at Porky's Comedy Club in St. Cloud. So first time. And it's Saturday night. Friday night, I got bumped by football. Could you believe that?
Oh, no. It's right. You're supposed to do Friday and Saturday at Porky's.
Yeah. So and then listen, and that's fine. I totally get it. I guess Friday night football, it's a big deal there in town. It's a small town. And he said, most people are going to be going to the football thing. I'm not a football guy. I'm not really a sports guy other than the World Cup. Yeah. So I'm sort of apathetic when it comes to stuff like that and out of touch when comics start talking sports. So I understand. So I'm in no way am I disparaging the club. Come Saturday night, he said, I'd rather do a sold out show on Saturday than a show for 8 people on No You know what I mean? Because they're all football crazy.
Wow, bump for high school football. That must be. Well, you're right though. It's St. Cloud, Florida. So
no. I think I don't think it's high school. I think it's that national football.
Oh, really?
I just said I'm not a football guy. I don't know.
I know. Friday, going by Friday Night Lights. I know Friday night. When I had my high school career, Chris Gorges. When I could say, when I used to walk into places and go, "Do you allow guns in your building?" That kind of thing. But that's
what stupid. Career? How long was your career for? 8 weeks? What did you play?
2 years JV football of the start.
JV, well.
True story.
I didn't know high school.
Lost my job to a kid with one leg. True story.
It's funny. I got one better for you. I was on the wrestling team in high school. I took second place in my weight division.
Wow.
Only 2 people in the weight division, me and the other dude. Yeah. I'm not even kidding. That's a true story. I was
still an athlete, though. You're still an athlete.
I guess.
Now, you mentioned a show in Newport Richie. What do you got coming up there?
That was actually a couple months ago. That was at the beginning of the apocalypse was when that show was. And now we're further into the apocalypse. I guess we're in the second stage of the apocalypse. I don't know what it is. But so I'm doing not post-apocalypse. I'm doing mid-apocalypse show Saturday night.
Mid-apocalypse. This is the wave that's supposed to kill off the people who didn't die in the first wave.
I don't know what's happening anymore.
It's crazy.
I've been learning how to play guitar. I don't know why. I don't know if that's going to come in handy after the apocalypse or not, but I figure why not.
Have you really been learning how to play guitar?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I got a couple electric guitars, and I've been taking lessons online with some Australian guy named Charlie. He's nice, and
Cool.
and so and yeah, but it's yeah, it's been fun. Been cool.
Oh my God! You just get a fedora and put it upside down, and you'll be gigging on your own on the weekends.
No, no fedora. Well, I actually do have a fedora, but I won't wear it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, it just for fun. Nothing, whatever. My heart's still in stand up. I still want to do shows.
I'm with you, and slowly but surely, I just had a meeting today to do a Comedians Uncorked gig at another venue. I'm trying to get
Nice.
it going. It's nice, like you said though, that Snappers, that Side Splitters, these places are slowly getting the green light again.
Yeah.
Which is great.
McCurdy's, I think, is still not open.
Correct.
And I'm on their short list, so that'll be nice.
Oh, good, because
Yep.
you kill it down there, and you need to be down there. And I
love
noticed it was weird. All this going on. The Orlando Improv was doing shows.
Yep.
Tampa Improv not till tomorrow with Michael Blackson. They were closed for a while, and in South Florida, West Palm Beach, and those clubs still closed.
Yeah.
So,
have you had shows? Have you been doing shows, Mr. Pat Largo?
not Comedians Uncorked shows. The venues that I do, like you're familiar with Plantation Palms and stuff. I met with another new venue yesterday about that. So, but I haven't done an actual Comedians Uncorked show since March 6th.
Yeah. More importantly, how's your mother doing?
Ruthie's good. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, she's good. Now that the pandemic hasn't freaked her out, because I know you're her caregiver, right? You're there for Ruthie. I didn't know her name, Ruthie. It wasn't that personal, but
yeah.
But thank you for filling in the jigsaw puzzle for me. She's doing all right.
She's doing great. It's funny because, like, man, I got friends of mine whose family or mother and father are 87 apiece in Chicago, and they're in the house. They don't go anywhere. They're terrified.
Yeah.
My mother's 91, and she doesn't give a fuck about COVID.
She's an anti-masker.
Dude, she doesn't want to. She does it just to be a team player.
Yeah.
But like I told people, I said, COVID is afraid of getting a case of Ruthie. I swear to God, man. I've had her out before. I don't purposely take her out shopping, but she'll want to get out just to get out, and get out of the house.
Ruthie is the new Karen.
Dude, she doesn't care. I mean, like, there is no, like, people doing, it's funny. They don't even look, well, I'm in Pasco. It's a whole different lifestyle here.
Well, how old is she?
91.
So she lived through the first pandemic, right?
Dude,
as a child.
The Great Depression.
Yeah, but the other pandemic, the one of 1918 or 1917 if you're Donald Trump.
Right. Was that the Spanish flu one or whatever?
Yeah. The 1918.
It was close. Yeah, she was born in 29. So, I mean, right around.
Oh, no, she wasn't there for it then, no.
But, I mean,
I can't do math. I don't do good birthday math, Pat. I refuse to do it. I want you to do the birthday math for me. You do if we're talking about birthdays,
right.
Although, to be fair, I asked you. I don't know where the aggression came from. I apologize.
It's the pandemic. You're a victim is what you are.
Damn it.
You need to call Farrah and Farrah immediately.
I can't get my trilling down. I can't trill correctly.
Now, real quick, I had a question from Twitter because I put this on Twitter that I was going to be talking with you today.
Somebody actually asked me a question on Twitter?
Yes.
That is
they
shocking.
got me on Twitter. There was a person in Florida, female, thank you. And she was mentioning that she knew that you do, so I guess you check out your stuff, the Charming Hooligans, and we'll talk about the improv group there for the killer one from years ago. And she said, how do you, like, what made you get into or decide to do improv comedy whenever you started?
Oh, God. I don't know. You know what it is? I did a post recently on Facebook where I talked about sort of my arc of creativity from when I started. Okay. And I think some people thought that I was only an improvisational guy. So I started doing comedy in Connecticut as a host at a steakhouse, and they did comedy. They had a banquet room. They did comedy. It was a big banquet room. So I was the house MC there for like a year for no money. And then I came here and I started back to Florida where I lived, where I grew up. I was in the military up in Connecticut. Came here and got involved in some open mics and stuff like that. And then I bumped into a buddy that I met from an open mic, Marty Hoffman. He was one of the Charming Hooligans, and he was doing stand-up as well. I met him at an open mic at a club in Tampa early on called Comedy Works. It was one of the earlier clubs. This is like early 90s, mid 90s. And he was involved in an improv group. And at the time, the British show Whose Line Is It Anyway was famous, but had not been Americanized yet, right?
Right.
So we were the hip kids. We were watching the British version. While y'all Americans were watching whatever you were watching, we were watching this sort of underground thing. And so immediately I was drawn to that sort of thing. I watched them, and then I asked if I could play along and learn a little bit. And then I eventually auditioned for the group and got into the group. And they were doing like the Brass Mug in Tampa, like some heavy metal, but it was nightmare shows. And just these weird things. And then that group split apart. We did like a couple of big events. We did the NHL Fan Fantasy, but not as an improv group. We were like character actors because I was doing that on the side. I've always had like 4 or 5 different comedy things happening at the same time because
at the same time. Wow.
Desperate need for attention.
No, but see that you're amazing. Well, and first off, thanks for your service because people, if they don't know, you were a Navy corpsman.
Yeah, I was in the Navy, right? But they paid me, so you're welcome.
No, that's fantastic. And you do a great bit about that, by the way. If people go see Chris Gorges around the area, because working with you, I think it was either early this year or late last year, we worked at Snappers together.
Yeah.
Great bit about the Navy and the uniform. It was just killer.
Right, so, thank you.
But no, that's interesting because even I didn't know how you guys started or why the Charming Hooligans. Because I saw on your Facebook page, you guys are doing like a Zoom or virtual, like a reunion.
We did the reunion, yeah. That was, like a 25-year, 30-year reunion.
Wow. Or dare I say it's a resumion.
Yeah, that's a dare. It's very daring that you said that. But if we were in person, you'd regret that dare. No, kidding. I would not be violent. I'm sorry. This is aggression again. That's it's pandemic aggression. I apologize.
That's what I'm saying. It's you got to get the poison out. So are you guys doing like a one-time reunion thing, or are you guys going to be kind of doing your thing like virtually, and then maybe do stuff again together?
Well, everybody's kind of spread all over the country, so I think at this point a literal reunion, because we did a literal reunion probably like 5 or 6 years ago in Clearwater, and had a nice big sold-out show and sold old T-shirts as a blast. And we did that at Jack's Joints, was the old Coconuts in Clearwater.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I don't know. That reunion was sort of like a pandemic. We're all, what are we going to do? Let's do something, try to be creative. And, a lot of the guys are doing different things. Joe Davison has been on Stranger Things, so he's been doing some television and movies. And Jason's been doing movies and commercial work in Chicago. And Marty has got like a YouTube life as like a dinosaur, a fake dinosaur official. I don't know what the hell he's doing. But, it's like a children's thing where he's like, Ranger Marty, I don't know. Good for him. So everybody's got their side projects. So I think we just kind of wanted to regroup. I don't know. Isn't it kind of vain to do those? How often do you do them, Pat?
Well, like you said, though, to do something to start it 20 years ago and have it be so successful, and then when things split up, it's sad, and then we root for even if we don't like a certain band or a cast of something. When you hear it's a reunion, you're like, oh, let me see what's going on. Because as I get older, I'm becoming very emotional for some reason. I start crying like easily now. It's very weird to me. So
Ruth is rubbing off on you.
It's a very weird. Like, she's tough. She wears the pants in the family, Ruthie. And
there's no soft mushy core there. No,
she's fine. She sometimes I really think that that she really is embarrassed that I'm her son. But I'm just it's. But I like to see a good reunion, and then when I hear improv, because I've never done improv, part of me I'm kind of scared. I don't think I'm that quick-witted, and when I see people do improv like properly, it's mind-blowing. It's so good.
Yeah, it's not about so much the wit, I think, and that scares a lot of stand-ups, because when I joined the group, there was only one other stand-up in the group. Everybody else was doing other thing. Like Jason was into theater and drama in school and stuff like that. I'm not a drama kid. I wasn't one of those people. And not that I disparage them in any way, for the love of God. I don't want to piss anybody off here in 2020 where you can't say shit. But it's not so much about wit as it is about allowing yourself as an adult the room and the ability to play, to let yourself be a kind of a child again. You know what I mean?
Right, the open-mindedness.
Well, yeah, and listening and being in the moment and playing, just being able to play, which I think a lot, stand-ups, some stand-ups play, but a lot of them, it's very calculated. It's very planned out. It's more like watching somebody lay out an architect plan than it is somebody playing.
Right.
Not all comics. Some comics play. I like to play. I like to be in the moment. I do have my set pieces, but I like to be in the moment.
Right. And it's not like a role playing, so to speak. Like you say, it's an open-minded thing where if someone just said, or like an audience member says, do this. But I think to be able to have that pop in your mind, at a split second notice and have to act on that, that's really damn fun. Like that's got to be amazing. That's got to be. Is that more satisfying than having a killer set as a stand-up comedian?
There's the question.
What do you think?
I don't know, man. I've had some really amazing moments on stage as an improviser where things
Right.
kind of click. I had a scene with Marty where he played, I think I played his son or vice versa, and we plotted to kill his mother. And it was a very dark scene, but it was really funny. And we played it off like, we don't want to do this. It has to be done, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was like the typical father-son fishing trip turned dark, really dark. And then I've had sets where I've been doing crowd work, which technically is improvisation.
Yeah.
And I had a woman fall right out of her seat onto the ground. She was laughing so hard. And then I berated her husband for not helping her up for 5 minutes. And I mean, and people weren't able to breathe. And there was a reviewer in the audience that actually wrote about it a couple of days later. I have the quote up on my website. So that was, and I mean, I can't write stuff like that.
No, you can't. Hang on. Let me see if I can do it real quick. I think it's right over. Let's see here. Is it right here?
I think maybe. Yeah. Go to. I think it's media.
Media. I will do that right now.
Yeah, media. Look at that. That's a handsome website, if I do say so myself.
Oh, it really is. Dare I say it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a lot of daring you're doing.
If
you scroll down, yeah, there, yeah.
Had no trouble racking up. Let's see. Down further.
Nope, the middle one you were reading,
right
that
here.
one.
Oh,
yeah.
the headliner, Chris Gorges, had no trouble racking up the laughs either, with a lady in the front row actually falling completely out of her seat at one point. I figure I got a good $10 worth of laughs during the show, easy. This is by Justin Grant, Times correspondent, and this is back in November of 2013. Wow.
Yeah, it was just funny. She fell out, and then it was so funny. Everybody was laughing, and the guy that was with her was laughing. I'm like, "Are you her husband?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's laughing. I'm like, "Were you going to help your wife up, or what are we doing here?
Wow.
What's happening?"
So now working with you a few times, having you, by the way, at one of my Comedians Uncorked shows, which was fantastic. I know about your history of working with the crowd. I'm the antithesis. I don't really, unless I'm hosting, I don't really play with the crowd much because to me, it's a green light to have them talk back, which scares me. So I just do my thing and get the hell off. But you play with them, but it's not just.
I'm an idiot.
Well, no, you don't just kind of like, see, you do it. You're an assassin. Like, in other words, you got a plan. You don't just capriciously do it and then see if they yell something back or whatever, which they usually don't.
Actually, I don't have a plan, and that's And here's the difference, Pat. Well, no, but here's the difference. Okay.
Yes.
The plan is just like at that moment to be in the moment, and I'll get off the script. And the plan is to genuinely be interested in the answer of the question, right? So when I ask somebody a question, I'm not trying to get into a bit.
Right.
I really want to know if I ask you, hey, where are you from? I really want to know where you're from. I honestly and genuinely ask questions in that vein. So the answer that I get is it's not going to be loaded. I have no idea what it is. Maybe it's going to be funny. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Whatever. I'm fishing basically, but not fishing for just laughs. I'm fishing because let's get to know somebody. Let's get to know who you are. Look, if you were in my audience and you said something, because I know you're very quippy and everything, I would be interested to talk to you more because you're an interesting person. So when I find one of those people in my audience, I mine that, if you will, and I mine their life. Like one night I had a woman and I asked her what she did for a living. She said she was a witch. And I went, a witch. And I knew what she meant. I knew it wasn't, she didn't mean like a literal, like, like Harry Potter witch. Yeah. She meant like, the earthy, what do they call it? Whatever the hell it's called, the Wiccan, that Wiccan crap. Yeah. She's into the Wiccan stuff. And I understand that. So I said, oh, you're a Wiccan? She said, yeah. And then I looked at the guy she was with and I said, are you a warlock? He goes, no. And I'm like, no. And he goes, no, I failed the test. I'm like, are you shitting me? There's a test? Yeah. So right there, we're off and running. Right. But had I been focused on getting them to where I wanted them, I would have missed what he said. I wouldn't have even acknowledged it. Right. Wow.
So you see, and that's a great point, especially people who want to do comedy or improv. Basically, what you're executing is broadcasting 101. You are asking a question, but you're not just prepared to jump out with an answer. You're listening to what they're relaying to you. Mm-hmm. You see what you hear what they're saying. And then, like you said, if it's not a great answer or it's not as colorful, you can move on or
ask another question.
Or ask another question, exactly, to delve deeper, because then the more info they give you, you can play with, not just then and there, but call back or use it later on in the show for something.
Right. And you also have to know when to just not talk. When they tell you don't, then yeah, move on. Don't be a dick about it. I see a lot of comics do that, where they're like, if they don't get an answer they like, they're a jerk and they curse at them. You can't.
Yeah, I know. Yes, you're exactly. I've worked with a few who exactly, and I feel bad. I really start feeling bad. And I tell you what, once the audience, God forbid, if they start siding with the other audience member, that's a shit show.
Well, and that's it. Yeah. And here's the thing, it's not their fault that you didn't get what you wanted.
Right.
And listen, not everybody's going to answer honestly. Some people are going to try to be funny.
Yeah.
That's a natural thing. I call those people and go, listen, what are you doing right now? Look, again, but you try to have fun. I don't insult them. And that's it. That's the secret of crowd work. Be interested in the answer, and don't take it personally if they don't do what you want them to do. They're not going to do what they want. They're not kids.
No, I exactly agree. And I love the fact that you are an equal opportunity crowd worker. It's not just front row. You could go back. I've seen you do middle, side. I mean, you cover everyone. It's like
I've walked off the stage into the audience.
Yes.
Whatever.
It's a wonderful thing.
It's fun.
Real quick advice before we plug the rest of your shows and the Porky's event and others on how people can get a hold of you. Yeah. We kind of covered it in a way, but to up and coming, the young folks who think they're funny, they want to get on stage. They want to be what you're doing right now. They want to be at Snappers this weekend. That's what I know, right? God bless you. I'm actually petting my computer right now. I just want to hug you. I miss hanging out with you. What do they do? What's the road? Like you said, you were military. Then you did shows, and a key word, for free. You hosted for free for a year.
For food and booze, really.
Exactly. We all did that. We all did it. So, I mean, what's the advice for the youngsters coming up who go, hey, I'm funny. I got a great 30, which means they have about 2 minutes of jokes, probably. What's advice to them do you have?
Yeah, first of all, I'm leery if anybody that comes up and says, I got a good 30. I don't know. And they're just starting. What?
Right.
Why would you where did you hear that? I don't know. Yeah, I never said it to anybody. I don't know. I grew up in a different time. My feature and I traveled with Tiffany Barbie, who is hysterical. She's going to be there as well Saturday night. We were talking about this, how some of the younger guys are trying to skip like the middle part of getting there. But there's like multiple ways to get there, isn't there, Pat? I mean, you can, remember 5 years ago when you could have 8 million Twitter followers and get there? You know what I mean? And then they got there and we're like, this guy doesn't have an act. He's got a lot of people that follow him, but he doesn't really have anything to say other than, 112 characters or whatever the fuck it is at this point. I don't know.
Yeah,
that doesn't shock me when you said it's somebody on Twitter, because I've had a Twitter account for 8 years. I think I've tweeted 8 times and I still have followers. I don't even know how that's possible. But I remember when I first started. I'll give you a quick story. I started at the Prime Cut Comedy Club in East Lyme, Connecticut, and there was a guy. His name was Teddy Bergeron. The older guys will know who Teddy Bergeron is. I didn't know who he was. I had no idea. He just one of the New England road comics back in the day. And I was same thing. I was starting out. I was green, and I kind of sidle up. He's eating. And I'm like, Mr. Bergeron, this is before the show. I said, you have any advice for young comics starting out? And he's like, yeah, get out of the business. That's what he said to me. He goes, get out of the fucking, there's too many comics. Get out of the business. You mind if I finish my meal? And I'm like, no, I don't mind. I'm sorry to bother you. And I slinked off. Yeah. There is no, I understand. And then he went up and he crushed. He was so funny. There is no path. I don't think. There are multiple paths. Do what feels right to you, but do what I tell everybody that asks me the question the same thing. Just be honest about yourself. Be honest about your show. Be honest in your show. Just be honest.
That's great advice, man. That's great advice. And you're right. Sometimes the market does get saturated with folks, so, but
mostly the path is do open mics, get a certain amount of time together, keep doing open mics. And then at a certain point when you feel that you've got, 25 minutes to 30 minutes of viable material, not crowd work in between, but actual bits. Like I do crowd work, but I have actual bits that I do. And I have well over an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours of bits if I just did the bits. Right. So you have to have that. And then you start sending out your avails to different booking agencies and places and see if you can get booked as a feature. Mm-hmm. And then you go and you work that material, and it takes until you find the voice, which is where you're most comfortable on stage. For me, it's an angry, complaining white guy. Yay.
I love it. No, that fits in good in 2020.
Oh yeah, no, we don't have too many of those in the country.
But the thing is, But the thing is, though, yeah, Leno said it takes at least 7 years from when you're starting, about 7 years to figure out what you're doing, who you are, and exactly what you want to do in comedy.
Yeah.
So,
Taking out of account the, savants and people that are, like Cam Bertrand, the guy's he's an insane writer, and he's moved very quickly.
Sure.
I don't know how many years he's been doing it, but he's moved very quickly to the status that he's at. But again, different path. He wants to be on TV. JB Ball these are all local guys, wants to be on TV. He's out in LA now. I never wanted that. I just wanted to be a good club comic. I want to be good with my audiences. I don't give a shit whether I ever get on television or have a fucking talk show or a line of thermoses or a hammer friggin', where a hammer company says, we want you to do comedy if you just show the hammer when you're on stage. What is that called?
Endorsement?
Yeah, a hammer endorsement. God, it would have been so much better if I just been able to say hammer endorsement. I apologize.
That's what I'm here for, though. Well, listen, I've seen your act, and I don't think you have to worry about any of those.
Well, I appreciate that.
So, no, Chris, I want to hug you again. Get over here. Here's the deal. Let me do this. I'm going to wrap it up because I know you're busy. If
okay.
I hit this right here, this is where you're going to be. In fact, look at this. This is the Porky's comedy page, and they have you right here on their banner deal right here. What are your thoughts about that?
That's McCurdy's. It's nice. I've heard a lot about Porky's. I'm excited to do the club. Like I said, I can't do Friday, but that's fine. We'll be back there again. Saturday is going to be a blast. Come out. Tiffany Barbie is featuring. We're going to have a great show. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got a lot to say. I got new material about the pandemic and being a dad in the pandemic and stuff like that. So it'll be fun. We'll have a good time. It's
going to be great. And here's the other thing. Every time I work with you, you change your material every time I see you, which is amazing.
Yeah?
So yeah,
are you the only person that knows that?
You do so much different stuff every time. It's phenomenal. I love it.
I never do the same set. I don't do the same order ever.
Right.
It's always jumbled up and all over.
No, it's beautiful. And real quick in closing, how can people get a hold of Chris Gorges to say hi or to book you for events or private gigs?
Yeah, the website is Gorges Comedy, GORGES comedy.com. All my links are on there: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, blah 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 blah. You can go on there. You can send me an email if you want to book me. I do private shows. I'm starting to do digital shows now. I got a digital global show in October.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Doug Caney turned me on to these guys, and they're out of the UK, and they do audio shows live globally. So we'll see. It should be interesting.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, here it is, folks. GorgesComedy.com. Chris Gorges, man, seriously, thank you so much. I know you're busy and have a killer time at Porky's with Tiffany Barbie and any other things coming up. We'd love to have you on and promote more. And it's just a thrill always talking with you, man. So you're
doing a fine job, and Ruthie is lucky to have you in her orbit, Pat. Let me just say that. Lucky to have you in her orbit.
God bless your sweet soul. Chris Gorges, thank you so much. My name is Pat Largo. You've been watching Comedians Uncorked Uncut. And don't forget to laugh. You deserve it.